Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a breed that really turns heads, the Siberian Husky.
Oh yeah, definitely captivating dogs.
We've pulled together some, expert guides and even health reports to really understand their temperament, how you train them, and what to look out for health-wise.
Right. The idea is to get past just the pretty blue eyes and the fluffy coat.
Exactly. Give you a clearer picture of what makes them tick, whether you're looking to get one or just fascinated by them.
And our sources highlight this sort of spirited, intelligent, but also quite independent nature.
Which sounds like a recipe for interesting training challenges.
It can be.
Yeah.
But that strong will and energy, if you channel it right, that's where you unlock their amazing potential.
Hmm.
It's less stubbornness, more like a bright kid asking why.
Okay, let's dig into that temperament then. Our main training guide, Husky-Friendly Training Techniques, it lays out some core traits. Intelligence first. It's not just about learning sit, is it?
No, not at all. They're smart, capable of complex stuff, but there's often a mischievous streak. They enjoy figuring things out themselves.
Problem solvers.
Exactly. Which can look like stubbornness if you're just giving orders. But really, their mind is always working, if you don't give it a job.
They'll find one you might not like.
Precisely.
And that ties into their independence, right? Bred for teamwork, but often working far from the musher.
Yeah, think about it. They needed to make decisions out on the trail. So they aren't hardwired to just wait for constant direction.
So in a house, that means they need to see the point.
Pretty much. They're more likely to, cooperate if the command makes sense to them or leads to something good. It's not about dominating them, it's about partnership.
Then there's the energy. The guide calls it boundless. That's a strong word.
And accurate. It comes straight from that sled dog history. They need a lot of physical activity and mental challenges too.
So what happens if they don't get it?
That's when you see the digging, the chewing, sometimes even Houdini-level escapes. That energy has to go somewhere.
Right. A quick walk around the block is definitely not enough.
Not even close for most Huskies.
They're also described as pack-oriented, very social.
Deeply ingrained. They really crave companionship, being part of the family. They don't do well being left alone for hours and hours.
Leads to loneliness, maybe more destructive behavior.
Often, yeah. They want to be involved.
Okay, one last trait from the guide. Prey drive. Strong instinct to chase.
Very strong. Comes from their, ancestral hunting background. Anything small and fast-moving can trigger it.
So careful management around cats or small dogs is a must.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
And off-leash.
Yeah.
You need to be extremely careful and have rock-solid recall, which, given their independence, takes work.
Wow, okay. So intelligent, independent, high-energy, social, high prey drive, that's quite the package. How on earth do you train them effectively? Positive reinforcement seems to be the strong recommendation.
It really is the best fit. Because they're smart and independent, rewarding the behaviors you want gets them engaged. They start figuring out, okay, doing this gets me the good stuff.
As opposed to harsh methods.
Which often backfire. With an independent dog like a husky, it can create resistance, fear, or just make them shut down. Positive reinforcement builds trust. They see you as the source of good things, not punishment.
So it's more about collaboration, building that bond.
Exactly. You're showing them you provide guidance and rewards, strengthening that relationship. It's much more effective long-term.
And it makes the training itself more motivating for them, using treats or toys.
Definitely. Huskies are curious. They like solving problems. Positive training turns it into a kind of game they want to play. Keeps them engaged.
I can see how that would help redirect some of that energy too.
For sure. You're channeling their brain power and energy into learning positive actions, like rewarding calm behavior instead of focusing on stopping jumping.
Rewarding the alternative.
Precisely. And it taps into that problem-solving nature we talked about. They're actively figuring out what works to get the reward.
Makes training more stimulating for them.
Which means they're more likely to retain what they learn. Behaviors learned positively tend to stick.
Okay, let's get practical. Give us some examples. Barking, for instance.
Right. Instead of yelling, wait for even a tiny pause in the barking, then immediately mark it, say yes, or use a clicker and reward. They learn quiet gets rewarded.
Okay, what about recall, coming when called?
That needs high-value rewards, something amazing, and tons of enthusiasm from you when they do come. Make it the best thing ever. Start in a safe, fenced area, of course.
And jumping up on people.
The key there is often to ignore the jumping completely. Turn away. Only give attention and maybe a reward when all four paws are on the floor. Teach them that calm gets interaction.
Makes sense. So how does this positive approach directly tackle those core husky challenges, the independence, the energy?
Well, with the independence, it shows them the benefit of choosing to cooperate. They learn following this cue, good outcome. For the high energy, training becomes a fantastic mental workout, a positive outlet.
Burns mental energy, not just physical.
Exactly. And for distractibility, rewarding moments of focus helps them learn to tune into you, even when there's lots going on.
So the absolute must-dos for positive reinforcement with the husky, key principles.
Timing is number one. Reward immediately after the good behavior. Consistency is crucial. Same cues, same rules, everyone in the house on board.
Keep sessions short.
Yep, 5–10 minutes is often good. Keeps them engaged, doesn't overwhelm them. Know what really motivates your specific husky super tasty treats? A favorite toy? Praise. Use those high-value rewards.
Patience is probably high on the list too.
Oh, absolutely. It takes time with independent breeds. And keep it fun. If it feels like a chore, they'll sense it. Make it a game.
Beyond positive reinforcement itself, what specific training techniques do the sources highlight as essential?
Basic commands are foundational sit. Sit, stay, come. Use lures for sit, start stay very short. Make come super rewarding.
Crate training.
Yes, very important. Introduce it positively, like their own safe den. Never, ever use it for punishment. Gradually increase the time.
Leash manners must be a big one.
Huge. Given their strength and energy, a no-pull harness, maybe a front clip one, can help. Reward heavily for any slack in the leash. Stop walking if they pull.
And recall training, we mentioned that's vital.
Paramount for safety. Practice constantly in secure areas, gradually adding distractions. One source, The Ultimate Guide, really stresses starting early obedience, like 8–16 weeks old.
Prime puppy learning time.
Exactly. And getting them used to a predictable schedule for meals and potty breaks right away.
Okay, what about common behavior problems? Barking, chewing, jumping. How do we address those?
For barking first, figure out why. Are they bored? Anxious? Alerting? Address the cause. Then, yeah, reward the quiet moments. And remember, they are naturally vocal, howling, talking. It won't be silence. Especially puppies. Puppy-proof everything. Provide tons of appropriate chew toys. If you catch them chewing the wrong thing, redirect calmly to a toy, then praise that.
And jumping.
Ignore the jump, reward the calm. Teach an alternative like sit for greetings. Consistency is key. Oh, and interestingly, one guide mentions huskies can be prone to dust mite allergies. Something to keep an eye on.
Good to know. So, boiling down all this training advice, what are the top tips for success?
Exercise first. A tired husky is a more focused husky. Use play as a reward sometimes. Socialize early and widely dogs, people, places.
Crucial for confidence.
Definitely. Stay positive, avoid punishment. If you're struggling, get professional help from someone who knows huskies.
Establish clear routines and spaces.
Yes. Designated eating and sleeping spots they feel secure in. Be really consistent with house rules allowed on furniture or not. Everyone needs to enforce it.
And prioritize praise and attention over just food.
Yeah, one source suggests that. Use treats, but don't forget your relationship and praise are powerful motivators too. And keep sessions short, 15 minutes, maybe 2–3 times a day is plenty.
This is fantastic. We've talked a lot about their intelligence and need for mental work. That makes me think about programs like Adrian Faricelli's Brain Training for Dogs. How could that fit in?
Oh, that's a really relevant connection.
Yeah.
Given how smart huskies are and how much they need that mental stimulation we keep mentioning, brain training for dogs could be a really valuable resource.
How so?
Well, the program uses games and interactive exercises designed specifically to challenge a dog's mind. It taps right into that problem-solving drive huskies have.
So it's another way to provide that enrichment they need.
Exactly. It's positive, it's engaging, and it can help prevent boredom, which, as we've said, often leads to those unwanted behaviors. It's about making learning fun and strengthening your bond.
That sounds like a great tool for husky owners.
It really could be. So for anyone interested, we've put a link to Adrian Faricelli's Brain Training for Dogs program in the video description, and it's also the first pinned comment. Worth checking out if you want more ways to engage that bright husky brain.
Great. Now let's just briefly touch on health before we wrap up. The Siberian Husky BHCP.PDF source, the Breed Health Conservation Plan, mentions some key things.
Right, these plans are important for tracking breed health. The report from 2018-2019 highlighted 3 main concerns. Glaucoma.
Pressure in the eye.
Yeah. Hereditary cataracts, clouding of the lens, and epilepsy.
Seizures.
Right. Because of these, especially the eye issues, there's a strong recommendation for breeders to do eye screening on dogs before breeding. using the official schemes like the BVAKC one.
And the Kennel Club surveys, did they show similar trends?
They did. The 2004 and 2014 surveys pointed to eye conditions, skin issues like that zinc-responsive dermatosis, which seems common in huskies, and also things like digestive problems, and reproductive issues like pyometra in females.
Any other predispositions noted in veterinary literature?
Well, besides the zinc issue and the eye conditions, there's some mention of potential increased risk for certain cancers, like thyroid cancer or a specific type of eye tumor, particularly in blue-eyed dogs, and possibly a type of blood cancer, T-cell lymphoproliferative disease.
So definitely things for owners and breeders to be aware of.
Yes, and it also reinforces the value of those health screening schemes for hips, elbows, and eyes that responsible breeders use.
Okay, so bringing this all together, our deep dive into the Siberian Husky. What's the main takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's really about understanding and respecting their unique nature, that blend of intelligence, independence, and energy. If you embrace that, use positive, consistent training, and provide that crucial physical and mental exercise,
You can have an amazing companion.
absolutely. A well-behaved, happy husky is a joy, but it requires commitment and understanding.
And remembering how smart they are. Engaging that brain is key. Maybe using resources like brain training for dogs we mentioned.
Definitely helps nurture that intelligence and prevent problems.
Yeah.
And being aware of the potential health stuff just helps you be a proactive owner.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. A fantastic deep dive into the world of the Siberian Husky. Thanks so much for sharing all this.
My pleasure. Always fascinating to talk about them.
We really hope you found this useful and engaging. We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Take care.